Welcome back. There have been athletes who have gone from one sport to another sport before. Some had success, like Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson. Others, like James Toney and CM Punk, well, they tried. So what can we expect when Conor McGregor boxes Floyd Mayweather this Saturday night? Just over 4 years ago, McGregor was cashing welfare checks in Ireland before he got the call to fight in the UFC. Now he's going to fight this weekend and make an estimated $100 million. McGregor is the lightweight champion in the UFC, has a record of 21-3, with all 3 losses being via submission, something he won't have to worry about in a boxing match. Something he will have to worry about, though, is Floyd Mayweather, who is 49-0 and is known for his ability not to get hit. So will he be able to avoid the devastating left hand McGregor is known for? Joining us now to discuss this fight is Sonny Parlin, who is going to be receiving his black belt from Rob Kahn in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in just 2 weeks, and is also the owner of Gracie Bradenton. Adam Jaco, a former professional boxer and now owns a gym in Sarasota, Jaco Boxing. Rashad Mark, a former professional mixed martial artist. And finally, joining us from Tampa via Skype is Tyler Bradley, who is a radio host for Sports Talk Florida. Thank you all for being with us, and please understand that this is like a new topic for me. This is not one of my levels of expertise, but luckily we have a great producer, Greg, who knows a lot about this and has kind of helped us understand a little bit. So first I want to start with Adam, and can you tell us the difference between MMA, UFC, and then boxing?
Well, with boxing, you're just training for one discipline, and that's with your hands. To strike with only your hands, not your elbows, knees, feet. You're not doing other disciplines, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and all those other type of disciplines that can be found in the MMA world, and there's many. So basically boxing, there's one focus, and it is to box and to have good hands and good footwork. But beyond that, you wouldn't train for those other things. It'd be, there'd be no need for it. Unlike the MMA world, where you have to train for all those disciplines to be prepared for a fight.
So Rashad, how hard do you think it is to go from training, being a UFC focused, to boxing?
It's extremely hard. It's like someone that's a sprinter trying to go and run long distance marathons now. It's the game is so different. There's no equal. There's some of the discipline with the boxing leaks into the MMA world, but it's 2 totally different sports. You don't see a fisher or a swimmer and a track star mix and mingle.
Right, right. And Sonny, your thoughts when you heard that this was going to be happening, just your initial reaction?
That Conor is going to get handled. Yeah, he's going to lose. It's just a question of how and how long it's going to take.
And what about the financial implications? Why do you think McGregor has closed the gap so much on being an underdog since this was first announced? Do you think he's kind of made some progress that way?
Very calculated promotion.
Okay, okay.
Very calculated promotion. A lot of fake stories, what I feel are fake stories that are leaked. That there's, between Giamatti and McGregor, there's all of a sudden this beef. And I just think a lot of that stuff saying that Floyd, his training partners are saying he's lost a step. I don't believe that for a second. I just think it's all just manufactured stuff to try to close that gap between the perception of how bad Conor McGregor's uphill climb is.
And Tyler, do you agree with that? Do you think it's really just all hype?
A lot of it is hype, and I like the comparisons that Rashad made. To me, it's a lot like asking LeBron James to step in the batter's box and hit a Clayton Kershaw curveball. Things like that are just very hard to switch sports, and Conor McGregor's definitely got the odds against him in this.
And what has your reaction been as you've been probably talking to some listeners, some fans? Are they excited about this, or do they think it's just kind of ridiculous?
It's kind of half and half, to be honest. Some people look at this as a money grab. Some see that this is going to be a very competitive fight. And either way, it's going to be an exciting spectacle for any combat sports fan.
Okay, so let's talk to Rashad for a second. So you fought in a cage before. When you're training, how do you mix up your time? How do you decide what is the most important thing when you're looking at who your opponent might be? Do you try to practice something to match their style, or are you just trying to be the best at your technique?
Well, to steal a line from Bill Belichick, you have to do your job. You have to continue to make yourself great each and every day. Every time you step in the cage, that's an opportunity to make yourself better. Every practice, every drill, everything, you make yourself better. You'd be an idiot not to at least study your opponent and see their tendencies, but I wouldn't say dominate a workout or give you any real significance, because there's a chance that he's doing the same thing, and what if he doesn't do that? You know.
Right. Right.
So you just got to keep continuing making yourself the best you can, and then hopefully it works out for you.
Okay, well, we have a lot more. We made it through round one. We'll have more on Mayweather versus McGregor right after we check in on the First Alert forecast after this. Welcome back. How did an Irishman who made $24,000 in his first fight in the UFC 4 years ago now land a fight with somebody who has been boxing his whole life, with both fighters estimated to make 9 figures? Joining us now to discuss the fight is Sonny Parlin, the owner of Gracie Bradenton; Adam Jaco, a former professional boxer and current owner of Jaco Boxing in Sarasota; Rashad Mark, a former professional mixed martial artist; and Tyler Bradley, who is joining us from Tampa via Skype. He is a radio host for Sports Talk Florida. And Tyler, I want to start with you on this round. Last week, the Nevada State Athletic Commission approved the request made by both Mayweather and McGregor to go from 10-ounce gloves to 8-ounce gloves. So does this really make a difference? And if so, who would it benefit?
Well, if anyone's going to get a benefit here, I think it's going to be Floyd Mayweather. He's used to fighting with 8-ounce gloves at a lower division, whereas Conor McGregor's used to fighting with 4-ounce gloves in the UFC. So a little bit heavier of gloves. Now, while it's only a couple ounces, that could slow McGregor's hands down just enough to where Mayweather needs it. And Mayweather, like I said, is used to fighting with 8-ounce gloves, so he's going to be able to have his game, and he should be able to do his work with Conor.
All right, and Sonny, do you see any possible advantages? I know you probably expressed this earlier, not so, but is there anything that he could maybe put on Floyd Mayweather that he wouldn't be expecting? I mean, he has some skills that obviously Mayweather might not have.
Yeah, he could double leg take him down, but he would lose all his money.
Right.
No, I honestly don't see any scenario in which Conor comes out on top. I mean, you're talking about a guy who is arguably one of the best boxers in the history of the sport versus a guy who's never had a boxing match in his life. So I just don't see there's any way possible that Conor is going to come out on top.
Okay, and Adam, now he is known as more of a stand-up fighter. So if you're just looking at him from the boxing realm, what do you see as his best assets?
Nothing in compared to a fighter. At the MMA level, he is the best, and his hands are regarded as probably the best in MMA. But in boxing, there is no comparison. Floyd Mayweather is 49-0 for a reason. He beat 20 other world champions in boxing. And everyone says, well, what about his left hand? What happens if he gets a lucky punch? 49 other men have said the same. And Floyd Mayweather is known not to get hit. I mean, I doubt he's taken 3 or 4 hard punches his entire career. So it's really, I don't see any chance. I agree 100% with Sonny, just not a chance. Not a chance.
Okay. And Rashad, if this was you and you were going into this and you were McGregor, you're facing like you're at a big deficit. What would you be doing first and foremost?
Well, you're not going to beat him at his game, even though boxing, of course, is his game. There's really not much you can do to prepare for Floyd Mayweather because there's no accurate sparring partners that can bring to the table what he does. But when my counterparts here say that there is zero chance, well, zero chance to me means both of you should be mortgaging everything that you own, go to Vegas and put it on Mayweather, because there's zero way. So there's no risk whatsoever. I still think Conor McGregor has somewhat of a chance. I mean, I'm not like I would pick him to win the fight per se, but he's got multiple intangibles working for him, the measurables. He is bigger. He is taller. He does have the reach. Floyd Mayweather is 41 years old, and as my 40th birthday approaches, that means a lot more to me than what it did quite a few years ago. Floyd Mayweather hasn't fought in a long time. Conor McGregor is 28 years old. He's in shape. His body's the best it's going to be. He's raring to go. He's in there. So there are chances for Conor McGregor to win the fight. It's a very uphill climb. It's not going to be a given. In fact, it's going to be an extreme surprise if Conor McGregor wins the fight. But I do give him a chance. If you throw a shot and it lands, anybody can get knocked out.
And Tyler, what are you going to be watching for? What are you hoping for as far as the most entertaining outcome for this? Something that won't be such a letdown? What are you hoping that will at least transpire, through this fight?
Well, I definitely think that Conor is going to be able to land a couple shots, and to keep it competitive is all we can really ask for. Like the others had mentioned, 49 others have gone after Floyd Mayweather, and none of them were successful. Conor McGregor is not going to bring much that Floyd hasn't seen. Now, if Conor does connect with that powerful left, Mayweather could go down. But like they were saying, the chances of that are so slim. This is really Mayweather's fight to lose.
Okay, and Adam, talk about the different angles that a boxer comes at versus a mixed martial artist.
Well, I really can't speak as far as what an MMA fighter would do in a boxing match. He is going to be made to box. The one advantage that if I were Conor McGregor, I would take advantage of it is that he is not an orthodox fighter. He is very unorthodox and a green to the game, basically. You know what I call those guys wildcats. So he will punch from angles you wouldn't normally expect a classic boxer to punch from. So I do agree there is a chance. There is that 1%. Now, would I bet everything on it?
Right.
No, absolutely not. There's not enough money to be made for me on that end still because of the way the odds are set up at this point. But his ability to just be that unorthodox, I think will cause Mayweather a few problems initially.
Okay, so Mayweather, though, Sonny, hasn't had a true knockout. And do you believe that there's a chance that this would be the time, well, since 1989, would this be the time that he might be able to do that, or do you see this, the streak continues?
I certainly think it's a possibility. I don't know, he's obviously more schooled on Mayweather than I am. I don't know how hard he hits. So that's for me, that's the question mark, is how is he going to win? Is he going to wear him down and then, just outbox the guy, or is he going to, go for it and take some big shots and try to knock him out? I have no idea what he's going to do. But I definitely think he's going to do whatever he wants to do.
And Rashad, if you're just a true fan, does it bother you, the money that's going into this? Is it kind of, does it spoil it at all? Does it make it just completely all about money?
Well, that's the money is the reason we're having this fight. Floyd Mayweather isn't getting off the couch for anything less than $100 million, and Conor McGregor is chasing that huge payday that he could never get in the UFC, at least as far as what I've seen. So, I mean, yeah, you got to pay for what you want, and you got to give the people what they want. And honestly, prices are set for a reason. Supply and demand, economics goes back as far as time. Things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them. And obviously this fight is going on as planned, so they've got enough of a buzz in the pay-per-view market that people are paying for it. And I know personally, I've blown $100 on a lot less. So it really doesn't bother me that much. You get together with a couple of buddies at someone's house, each of you chip in 10, 15 bucks, whatever it is, and just watch something fun. It's a little bit different. My curiosity's peaked.
Mm-hmm. I think everyone's is, yeah. Okay, so Tyler, how does McGregor then go back to boxing? If he has go back to UFC, if he has this much money to be made in boxing, does it make sense that he continues that career?
Well, absolutely. He's holding up the division right now, being that he's the champion, and he's taking time away from UFC to get into boxing. And I can't see any other scenario. He's going to go back. He's not going to make the money in UFC that he's making in boxing. That's a given. But we know Conor's passion is fighting and mixed martial arts, and he hasn't trained just boxing for very long. He's been training many different forms of martial arts, and that's also another reason you have to look at Mayweather, who he's trained boxing his entire life, and McGregor has not. Now granted, his stand-up is the best part of his game, but he's used to using those legs. He's used to be able to try to be able to get these guys on the ground. And it's just a whole different game. It's a whole different ball game between these two.
Okay, and Adam, let's just say Mayweather does get to 50 and out. Where does he sit as far as best boxers of all time?
I think anyone would have to put him in the top 5. Arguably one of the best. Most exciting? No, absolutely not. But when you think about boxing, and it was for a long time been referred to as the sweet science, he has perfected that. And kudos to him for leaving with his brain intact and a ton of money. As far as I'm concerned, he is, without a doubt, to me, the best fighter ever.
Okay. And final question before we go to break, and then we have a wrap-up segment after. But, Sonny, do you think there's anything, if you had to pull at something, would there be maybe one advantage that Conor would have as far as from his MMA background?
Yeah, one of his corner guys throwing a banana peel into the ring.
We're not going to get Sonny to move on this at all.
You really are. When Sonny thinks something, he definitely thinks it. It's
Well, that shows commitment, so we'll give you that.
cynicism is
Or
I
cynicism,
think it's the
that too.
unpredictability of Conor, honestly, in his style.
Nope,
It's
that's
very
true.
unpredictable.
Okay. Well, when we come back, we're going to go into a quick break now, and then we have the championship round when we return. We're just more than 72 hours away from what many consider to be the biggest fight ever. Our guests join us for their final thoughts. I have the same question for all of our guests. We're going to start with Tyler. Who do you think will win? How is he going to do it? Do you have a round prediction? And where are you going to be watching it? Okay, that was 4 questions, but go ahead, Tyler.
Well, I think Mayweather's going to go ahead and take care of business and get the job done. Now, Mayweather not being known for his knockouts, he could have some fun with this and take this to distance and win by decision. Don't really plan on going out for it. I'll be watching it at home, and it's just going to be a great fight all around.
All right, Rashad. Who do you think will win? How's he going to do it? Round prediction, and where are you watching?
Well, I have a firm belief that the reason I'm on this show is because I'm the only one that thinks Conor McGregor can do this, and I'm picking him to do it. Round prediction's pretty tough. It's going to be in the first few. I don't think he's going to do it in the 8th or 9th, so it's going to have to be within the first 4 or 5 rounds. And I just think he's going to start clubbing them. He's just going to start clubbing them. A lot of heavy hands, a lot of punches that Floyd hasn't seen. Floyd's a little bit old. You know, he does have a legacy to protect, but I see that strength as
And what are
huge.
you doing? You having a party? You going out?
Yeah, I'm going to a buddy's house. It's the same thing I talked about earlier. Just all going to split it, bring the girls over, have some beers, watch the fight, and call it a day.
Sounds like fun. Okay, Adam.
Floyd by late stoppage, late in the fight, 8th, 9th, 10th round. And we'll be watching it. My brother and I are hosting a private party at Il Beneficio. Not even private, it's public. Come out, Sarasota. We're launching our Fight Life
Nice.
apparel gear. Come out and watch it. If you got no plans yet, come out and see us.
Sounds like fun. Okay. And now your final thoughts, Sonny.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be Floyd by a stoppage, probably in one of the later rounds. So, and I'm going to be watching it with some buddies, my bud Josh LeDuc at Gracie 941 in Bradenton.
Okay. All right. And any suggestions for someone who's watching for the first time, like what to look for if you're just totally new to this?
Nothing. Don't look for anything. Because you got people that have been watching these sports forever that they don't even know what's going to happen.
Right.
So have a good time.
Yep.
Be ready to be surprised. All right.